All right, folks, so here we are, another day, another adventure about ready to happen with Arizona hog hunters, and I'm Ron, your hog meister. We're going to be looking at a new area today, a different area than what we've already reported on. This area is located west of Benson, Arizona, about 7-8 miles. It's located in the Little Dragoon Mountains, which are situated just north of Interstate 10. For those of you who have traveled east from Tucson on Interstate 10, you will have gone through, more than likely, Texas Canyon. Beautiful rock formations, etc. Well, the mountains on the north side of Interstate 10 are referred to as the Little Dragoon Mountains. It's back in these mountains, hills, whatever you want to call them, where the Sus scrofa, wild boar, are hanging out. This particular herd, at least a portion of them, have been traveling down to Benson, Arizona, which, way the crow flies, is probably 7-8 miles. A lot of traveling for hogs, but they've been known to do that. Wherever there's feed, they will travel. They're kind of like elk. Covering a dozen miles a day is nothing for this species of animal when it comes to food. And a couple things I want to mention here is that the entire southern region, for the most part, of Arizona, southern Arizona that is, has wild boar. Now, in some places they're very thick, and some places they're not so thick. What we're trying to do is locate the heaviest concentrations of Sus scrofa and or of Sus domesticus. And you're asking yourself, now wait a minute, what is this? A new term? Well, let me clarify. Sus scrofa is the species that have Eurasian boar blood types mixed with it, and usually a different kind of looking animal. We've had Sus scrofa, we've had Eurasian boar. The ranch I used to work on 25-30 years ago, one of the people that kind of affiliated with the ranch, sort of, he brought in 14 Eurasian boars that were purchased out of, if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee or Kentucky. I think it was Tennessee. Got them off a game ranch, brought them in, introduced them with Sus domesticus, which were some feral hogs, also referred to as razorbacks, which Texas is notorious for having. And so they interbred. The reason the rancher and his partner decided to do that is they were losing, they thought they were losing a lot of the razorbacks that they had been bringing in to hunt. Were getting taken out by mountain lion, and at the time we had a lot of wild dog problems. They were packing up and taking down calves, taking down deer, taking down everything that they could overwhelm. Anyway, so what the point I'm getting to is this herd that we'll be looking at today could have and probably did come from another herd of Sus domesticus, feral hogs that had once been domesticated, out of the Wilcox, Arizona region. we're familiar, and we're going to be covering that area down the road. That's another location where there's a good concentration of feral hogs, Sus domesticus. But we're fairly convinced that, and we've had signs that herd has expanded and come over the mountain range in between Wilcox and Benson to tie up with a lot of these Sus scrofa mix, Eurasian mix boars that were spreading from that region, the San Pedro River area. And so I know it sounds a little convoluted, but try to stay with me here. And so now we've got a mixture. And meanwhile, the numbers just keep getting thicker. We're going to be covering areas in southern Arizona that have no relationship to the Sus scrofa, Sus domesticus that I've already or just now mentioned. They got started from other farming operations that went south or whatever. Domesticated pigs that got off the farm and went on their own. And they go clearing into Mexico and other places. Mexico, the country's got plenty of them. Anyway, so we're going to be dealing with this herd today. And yeah, we will go ahead and sign off for now, and you'll be watching if you stick with us, which we hope you do. And remember, we got to have you like, share, subscribe. We got to get this information out. We need people to understand the value of having wild boar. Yes, they can be a plague if you let them get out of control. We have the option. We can let Game and Fish keep doing what they're doing, sending out federal hunters, shooting them from helicopters, and I think they spend about $1 million per episode for that kind of stuff. That's taxpayer dollars that we don't need to have happen. Hunters, once they realize how good wild boar is for eating purposes and the great challenge they are for hunting, I think we can get this thing going in Arizona, that we don't end up like Texas and some of the other southeastern states that are having a lot of problems with wild hogs. But anyway, on that note, I'll be talking to you shortly. Doing our little scouting routine today. We got us new area we're checking out, and we've been getting a lot of information, different sources that they've got a lot of hog activity in this area. And today I'm accompanied by, we got the hog killing crew here. First of all, I'll introduce the band. First, I'm Ron. My experience has been many years dealing with hogs, the four-legged kind. And in the back street on the drums, or in the back seat on the drums, we got Denny. Say hi, Denny. Okay, that Denny. Denny, you haven't killed a hog yet, have you?
Yes, I've killed several.
Oh, wait, we can't use that word. Not on YouTube. You haven't dropped. You have dropped a hog.
I have. You don't remember those extenuating circumstances out there at the field?
Oh, that's right. That's right. There you go. Okay. So Denny's got some experience dropping hogs. And your favorite instrument with you today is the, what is this?
22 Creedmoor.
22 Creedmoor. For those of you...
AKA Bleedmore.
Okay.
What?
And for those of you that aren't familiar with that caliber, you ought to get familiar with it. It's a hard-hitting, fast-moving little bullet, and does a lot of damage. All right, over here driving, we got Randall. Now, Randall, he ain't killed a hog.
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have? Excuse
44
me.
mag.
44 mag. Okay. The only thing I remember is that one hog, you had that semi-automatic 40 cal. You emptied the clip at 5 yards and missed every shot.
That was somebody else. That was dangerous.
But so Randy has dropped a hog, and it was actually a four-legged one. because he's got a lot of experience with the other one. But anyway, that's another story. We have come out here and we are aggressively pursuing Sus scrofa. That is the wild hog in Latin. I won't go into detail. Well, I will too.
Etc.
Etc. Don't use that word. Anyway, so you got Sus scrofa, which are the European blood, more wild-looking hogs, and then you got Sus domesticus, which are the feral hogs that have been out on their range doing their thing for maybe 1 or 2 generations. After a couple generations, they do revert back to their original state, more like the European boars with the big manes, etc. Anyway, so we will be checking in with you periodically here, hopefully as we get on some genuine Sus scrofa or Sus domesticus. We're not choosing. Continuing on with this new area we're scouting out today. Where we are is in the foothills of the Little Dragoon mountains, just west of Benson, Arizona. And if you can tell as I pan around behind me, this is pretty thick stuff down in here. This is more of a canyon. A lot of track. We've come across pig track. I've come across a lot of bobcat, a lot of coyote, of course. Got coyote everywhere. Pretty scenic area, and we're gonna continue. We're gonna do a little varmint calling while we're at it. Maybe even call in some hogs. Yeah, it's pretty interesting country. Pretty thick in here. I'll go ahead and pan around a little bit. And what you're looking at right there is the Little Dragoons. Okay, and it's just, they are located north of the interstate. Yeah, you run through, right in the middle you got Texas Canyon with the interstate going through it. Beautiful rock formations. Then you get into the regular Dragoon Mountains to the south of the interstate. But meanwhile, we'll just keep on chugling and see if we can locate these hogs. Okay, so once again, here we are in the Benson area. We actually had to come in for lunch. This morning, found some signs, some tracks. Didn't get any actual hogs located, but we didn't really expect it. During the daytime, they're bedded up in the most remote, thickest stuff you can look in, and we are talking to people here in the area. One rancher has been aware of the hogs. He said he hadn't seen any himself, but his neighbor had reported having problems. And what we had originally to go off of was that we had people right here in Benson, or just on the outskirts of Benson, off of Airport Road, talking over the years about how herds of pigs were coming through their yards, usually at nighttime and early morning hours, Matter of fact, my uncle used to live in that area, and he had confided in me that they had taken a few pigs, that took them and butchered them, and yeah, he was real appreciative of having pork come right up to his driveway, and there's quite a background or a backlog of reports of the feral hogs coming in, especially on that end of town, the west end of Benson, just off of what they call Airport Road. And so we're going to get back out this afternoon. We're going to check another little area just south of where we were this morning, crossing over. We won't be actually in the Little Dragoons anymore, but we'll be getting closer to the regular Dragoon Mountains on this afternoon's search, and we'll report back to you as soon as we get more information, so stay tuned. Okay folks, here we are, end of another exploratory excursion. We just got back in, and I want to let you know more or less what we've found to be with this area. I think this is our third area, if I'm not mistaken. And I want, first of all, let me introduce you to our infamous gun room, our war room. I'll pan around. This is where we do a lot of our planning and gearing up for various operations. But anyway, so getting back to the point of discussion here, we discovered signs of Sus scrofa, Sus domesticus, whatever. We had tracks. We did not see any hogs, but we didn't really expect to see any hogs because it was during the day. And we all know what happens with our little piggy friends when daylight comes around. They sleep. We are pretty excited about, I might say, about the area. I think I have indicated where that area is located, west of Benson, Arizona. These hogs have been coming in for years and harassing the people on the west end of town. There's when you follow the wash that is titled the Adams Peak Wash, coming from the Little Dragoon Mountains under I-10, Interstate 10. You will see these fields that are right off this road. I think they call it Airport Road, that the hogs are coming into. And then if they happen to get a whiff of garbage and somebody threw out a dead turkey, chicken, whatever, I mean, if it's garbage, they're going after it. They'll eat anything. And that's what I think I mentioned to you in the video, that my uncle lived there, and he's one of the sources, as well as about 4 or 5 others that live in that area. My uncle actually took, I think he said, 3 hogs over the many years. Got tired of putting up with them, decided he'd try tasting them, and he was really impressed by. They're a very tasty food. I've had it, love it. I rate it right behind moose and elk for flavor. And hey, folks, you can't beat the price. But anyway, so we did do lots of scouting, lots of checking things out. And so we want to make sure you stick with us. Oh, and one other note, we did stop and talk to a highway worker, and were thinking that he was a local and that he might have some information because he was in the general area that we were looking at. And he told us, he informed us that he was from Bisbee. And so, oh, well, we were wondering if maybe, you knew anything about the wild hogs running in this area. He goes, no, but we know where there are a bunch of hogs because me and my brother and his kids, we went and knocked down 5 of them. And it's like, whoa. And when he told us where they were, it's like, okay, they're down in this area that we were going to cover. That was going to be, I think, our 3rd area of coverage. But then the rabies thing hit and it's still going on. And so we backed off that area. We didn't want to be encouraging our fellow hunters and people who are interested in that area to get in trouble with these with this epidemic. And so anyway, so it's more confirmation. And I mean, it's like, yeah, you knocked down 5 hogs in one day. That's impressive. He said, yeah, there's a lot. And it's kind of like confirms what we already knew. And we will be covering it soon. Regardless of the rabies epidemic, hopefully again, we're hoping that it'll burn out over the summer. But I'm going to get down there, maybe me and 1 or 2 of the other guys, and we'll get that report back into you because it is a hot area. It is loaded with Sioux scrofa. So, on that note, again, reminder, we need your help, we need your support. Like, share, subscribe. Talk to you all next time. Ciao.